2 by 2. We are 2 Substackers actually asking each other 2 questions. Da, da, da. This is now I gotta tell you, this is a new trend we're hoping to start with going live, so there's purpose.
There we go. Got a notification. We're going live.
We're going live. I'm Ann Kimbrough, but I'm Tell Me a Mystery, and please introduce yourself.
I am Kummer Wolfe from Worlds of Kummer Wolfe. I do a whole lot of fantasy of different kinds.
Yeah, we're both writers, so this is really for the writers, the introverts in us that would like people to know more about us, but it's better to have someone that you like, that you've noticed online. That's why I pulled you into this, because you're one of my you've actually you've ingrained yourself. You're part of my conversations with coffee. I have to thank you. You are K-Cup. If people are not reading the comments sometimes to conversations with coffee, they should, because K-Cup makes a presence every time, and I love it.
He's K-Cup's very energetic. He's got a lot of caffeine in
Yeah.
him.
I'm like, Kummer, you get me. You would get me really big time. I love that. All right, let's jump in with this. I'll ask the first question of
Okay.
you because these things should be about learning more about us as writers and just Substackers. But I know you're a gamer, and so
Mm.
I can see that in your action. You really write incredible action, but you also write great characters. You write great female characters. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if Kummer was a man or a woman, and I was like, this is probably a woman. Tell us my favorites. How do you do that? How do you balance that? Your action and your characters?
Um. Wow. How to put this? It's like a wave, a flow. Like, okay, I like to start with action because I like to hook people. And action doesn't always have to be, even though my latest two stories have the character running madly, trying not to get skewered. Um, I like to start with some sort of hook, some sort of action. Something has happened, either happened and still happening, or has happened and it's the aftermath. And they're like, oh my God, it's still action, right?
Yeah.
And it has a certain cadence to it, a certain just sort of momentum. And I feel like you start with that momentum, and then you get to the logical end where the character's like, I'm done. I'm done. I want to rest now. Can I have a coffee? And and then you're like, okay, and you can kind of feel it when you write. You get about a chapter, maybe two. Like in Dark Device, it was about a chapter. The first chapter was just the main character dealing with life, and in the second one, with the second story I've got going on now with Death Whispers, it's two chapters. But still, the main character got to a point. He was just like, oh, finally. Well, at that point, it's like, okay, let's let the reader have a chance to catch their breath because hopefully, if they've enjoyed it, they've been running madly along too. And so at that point, I'm like, all right, let's have the characters talk to each other. Which I don't. I'll sometimes do one character alone, but at that point, I feel like you've done the high point. Let's do the low point, like a roller coaster. You've screamed all the way to the bottom, and now let's roll gently to the next hill that we're about to terrify people with, and have the characters talk to each other and talk about what happened and kind of sort of set the stage, sort of talk about the hit the subplots and all the usual plot beats you always hear about, right? And then I let it sort of pick up again of okay, they've talked about it. All right, at this point, how can I just make their world miserable? And at this
I
point,
love
I'm like,
that.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, let's make their world miserable. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to yank the rug out from underneath them and throw them over the cliff or do something to them. I'm going to alter them. I'm going to punch somebody in the mouth. I'm going to what have you. And then now we're at the top of the roller coaster again. And now we're screaming down to the bottom. And so that's kind of how I visualize my stories is a little bit like a roller coaster going up the up and downs and the high points and the low points.
I love that, and you feel it. That's definitely a gamer. I love how you bring that together.
Thank you.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
how you write such great women. Like you must.
Uh,
Not not everybody can do that.
I've been asked that before, actually. How do I? I've been told that before and asked that before, and I'm having off-camera suggestion hints here from
You
a
have great
certain.
women in your life that you tap into.
Yes, I happen to have a fantastic one in my life that I pay attention to. Um,
Good.
I pay attention to her closely, but,
And then does the opposite.
and does yes, she said, and I do the opposite,
That's funny. That's
but,
funny.
I'll also I pay attention to like, growing up, I paid attention to my mother. She was a very active lady, a very action-oriented lady. She didn't let moss grow under her feet at all. Um,
Mm.
and I guess just it's a sense of, you know, you pay attention, right? It's which I if you just watch somebody, you just kind of strip away life and everything. You just kind of go, look at this person. And I don't mean make creep them out. Please don't creep them out. That don't do that. But
A nice stocking.
yeah, do a nice stalking. You do a polite nice stalking. Maybe hand them a rose afterwards, candy, something, coffee, um,
Coffee.
yeah, coffee. But watch how they act. Watch how, and it's not so much the big things, it's little things. It's the body language. It's and I don't even want to say it's a male female thing. It's a personality thing.
Mm,
It really is. It's a personality thing. Everybody's got their own
that's a good point.
personality, and a female character. I know how to put it. I know exactly how to put it. I know exactly how to put it. Long time ago, I had another writer friend of mine I haven't spoken to in a long time. We were talking about this, and we were grousing over a writer who had this, funnily enough, a male writer who tried to write a female character, didn't do a very good job. And we were both kind of complaining over this. And she said a phrase that just stuck with me so hard. And she said, There is, she goes, it doesn't make any sense because a female character, in a lot of ways, they have their own uniqueness because they're female. But never forget, even the girls like to punch the bad guys.
I love that. It's true.
And when you unwrap that single
Maybe more.
sentence, I mean, really unwrap it and realize and just kind of think about it hard. You know, there are differences between men and women, male and female characters, how they'll approach things, biologically and this and stature and strength and da 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 da. Da. Sure. It's here is the important part. Mind. How are they going to
Mm,
think about us? How they do it? What are they doing? How are they not going to do this? There are certain things they'll do, they won't do, and you just follow it when you make the character. And remember, ignore the stereotypes. Just approach it of how would she do this, and then look around at the women in your life or the ladies you see in your life, and ask yourself that question. Watch him. How would she do this?
yeah.
How
That's
would she
brilliant.
do this?
I love it. Now, we have quite a few people have joined us. This is our first little chance here, and maybe everybody didn't catch our opening that we're calling this 2 by 2. So it's two Substackers that are asking each other two questions. And so we're one question in, and it's this is something we want everyone to try to do this so we can all meet some of these really great writers that are on Substack and know each other a little bit better. So do you have a question for me?
I do. Um, you write fantastic stories. I read. When I see one of yours come out, I'm just like, oh, set everything aside. I have to read this now. And out of your stories, I mean, they're all fantastically unique. And I'm gonna pick at one. I'm gonna grab one to go after it
Okay.
because I could really apply this to all of them. When you look at something like Time Witch, time travel is so hard to write. Anybody who's tried to write it knows, boy, that's a pile of spaghetti waiting to slap you in the face. What was your inspiration for Time Witch, and how did you manage the time travel threads and causality that could occur in a story? 'Cause I know that's what I've seen writers just go, and just get terrified over the thought of trying to write that because of what can happen to the story plot.
Yeah, good question. Well, I think for me, since the magic element was involved, I felt like I could sort of get over a lot of that because magic, you know. So I figured whatever she did maybe I also had this phrase of time pushes back. So it's
Mm.
not that easy to change time. You might, and I didn't want to go down some stupid branch of time history. I figured that Loki did that enough. I didn't want to follow that. So I really did just sort of lean into, the time period was, I came to that story because I love Carnegie libraries. I love history. So the Carnegie Library, I just thought it'd be really fun if somebody turned a Carnegie Library into a bed and breakfast. And there is one, it's not a Carnegie Library, but it's a library in Manchester, England, that you can go and stay in, and at night you can go out and go into the stacks and read books or do whatever. And I thought, "Oh, I want a place like that." So I found the Carnegie Library. So that led into the time travel. It was
Mm.
supposed to be a cozy mystery, and then suddenly she found a closet. So I sometimes just fall into where my story takes me, and then I have to pull back and go, "How does this make sense? What are the rules?" I had to have some time rules, so I didn't fall into those holes. But magic was the savior. Because it's magic.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
Yeah.
love it. I absolutely
Thank
love
you.
it. Now I've got
Good
a
question.
I've got a place to stay on my bucket list now. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I can send you that link for Manchester, England. I haven't gotten there myself, but they have a really nice blog, and they send out stuff about what they do, and I'm like, "Oh, it looks so much fun. I wanna
Cool.
go."
That sounds so
Um,
cool.
all right, my second question for you has to do with being on Substack and being a restacker, because I feel like you
Hmm.
are the master of restacking. And I just want you to know that I notice. I love it when you restack. And I'm like, how do you have time to you really do seem like you read everything that you restack. I don't know if you do, but you pull quotes, you make comments. You are the biggest fan, and you're also one of the best writers on Substack. So, how do you do it? Why should we be doing it as well?
Oh wow. Um, I see him on here, and he just asked a question. So
Yeah,
I'm actually going to call him out a bit because that would be fun. Um, some of my substacking and my doing this, I have to say I take a nod from Jamie Buckley, and
love Jamie.
you really want to go look at Jamie Buckley hard, guys. Y'all really want to do. Go
We
stare
do.
at him, watch him for a while. Um, he has got the biggest heart I've ever met, and
Sweetest, sweetest person. Love you,
as
Jamie.
I know he's fantastic, and just I feel like in interacting with him, and I've always kind of felt like this, but interacting with him just sort of put it to 1,000. You know, it everybody we're all writers. We're not competing against each other. It's easy to think we are. I mean, it's
We
easy.
aren't.
We're not. We're all climbing the same mountain. I think I said this to Allison Bull not long back as well. We're climbing the same mountain, and okay, maybe I made it up a rock or two that you haven't, or it hurts nothing, absolutely nothing, to reach back and extend a hand and say, "Hey, come on, let's go."
Mm.
You know, I love to read as much as I like to write. I love to write stories. I love to write characters. And I love when I can go read a story with characters. And when I feel like by doing this, especially quoting, finding this one quote that goes, okay, this captures the emotion I'm feeling right now in this story. Boom, let me send it. It takes nothing, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing, and except a little of my time. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, I am willing to pay it. Because at the end of the day, there are people going to see that and go read a good story. And that gives encouragement for that writer to keep writing. And if that happens, as far as I'm concerned, life is good. There's another writer still writing. The world just got brighter.
I agree. That's wonderful. I feel the same way. We aren't in competition. I see Jamie, and this it's Guys, we're learning how this works. So it's very hard to read the comments with two of us on here. Oh, I say if you touch it, it pops up. Jamie
Yeah.
saying, "Love you both so much. Preach the truth. Zero competition." It's true. I mean, I've always felt the same way. It's not like it's a limited amount
Mm-mm.
of readers. And
No,
the more you
no.
can expose people to, I feel like when you find true readers, and a lot of us are true readers, they read a lot. I could be
Yeah.
reading on my phone all the time. So it's like the more the merrier.
And really, if you're one of those people that likes numbers, that just likes to boil it down to numbers, I've met a few in my life. Look at it this way: we all write stories. None of us, like, I'll never be able to write Time Witch nearly as good as you because that's your story. That's coming out of you. So you know,
Yeah.
it's just how it works. But let's
Well,
boil it
same with
down to
Wind
numbers.
Tracers. I can't write the action the way you write your action. It's amazing.
Well, thank you.
It is. I mean, it's a wild ride. I love that kind of story. So I see your point. Yeah, I wouldn't think of it that way, but it's true. I can't
It
write what you write, and I enjoy what you write. So
Yeah, and how many people? Think how many people. Let's just say one language on the planet, English. How many people read and speak English across the planet? It's in them. It's in the millions. Easy, easy, if not more. Okay,
he's trying to
that's
say, look at my poster.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
There's so many people out there. It's impossible for us to say I've claimed a piece of the writing pie. Oh no, there's so
Yeah,
many people out there that are readers that want to read. We got plenty room to share. So let's help each other and share.
perfect. I agree. And so I do try to follow your example, and I also say that your restacking makes me happy as a writer because I'm like, "Oh, someone noticed me," because I think there's so many people that read us that we don't know because they
Hmm.
don't engage that way, and it's totally fine if they don't. But any little comment or the heart button or a restack, it makes me go, "Oh my god, I gotta keep doing this." I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep doing it anyway because we're all gluttons for punishment, I guess.
Yes, we
But
are.
something else is driving us, but that so helps. It makes you feel good.
Let's see. I think I found Jamie's question. He says, "How do you both schedule your work, specifically writing? Do you maintain a buffer right ahead so you have a breather? And how do you prefer to publish your work?" So here we have a bonus question.
Cool.
You
Oh,
go first. I'll answer after you.
mhm. Well, so I started with 2 stories. The Harvey Girls, I was writing fresh to sort of learn how to Substack, so it had a lot of ups and downs, and I recently finished it, took it down, and rewrote it, so it's and put it out as a book because it works. But that was I was writing every week, which was really hard. And, The Time Witch was a story that I took to New York for this conference and found out that the bulk of the story nobody wanted but me. And that's what you guys got. And I took the tiny little sliver of it that should be some big different story, but I haven't done anything with it. So that one I had written like half of it. So when I got to the end and caught up with myself and I hadn't finished it, that was also really terrible because I was writing it every week. So I don't recommend that. So I finished both of those. So now I'm pulling back and I'm writing stuff. I just started this cozy mystery, and so I'm 2 months ahead. So I'm gonna try to maintain that. How about you? Are you
I sort of try to keep a buffer. I got to admit, I try to keep a little bit of a buffer. I with Wind Tracer with Dark Device, I had a buffer already sort of built in. I was more than a couple of weeks and couple months ahead. I mean, it disappeared quick, but I try to keep about 2 weeks ahead, which is where I got to with Death Whispers of like, okay, if I can keep a buffer of about 2 3 weeks with once a week, let me do about the same pace and then work towards a 2 week buffer, but only release every other week. So it kind of stretches it out and it gives me a little bit inbuilt gap so I can not feel so manic and trying to get the chapter done. And give me a little bit more time to make sure I can get just exactly what I want out of it. So I try to keep a buffer. Don't always make it, but I try to. I try to keep about a 2 week
Yeah.
buffer.
It's an interesting game.
It is.
I mean, it's like I want to put out really good quality, so that makes it hard, but you do what you got to do. Um, I think consistency sometimes is more important. And a lot of times I'm like, who's reading it? But for that one person, for you, you are very much in my mind. A lot of times I'm like, well, Kummer's there. I've got to get this out. He's going to be like, what happened? Yeah,
Well,
well, he wouldn't be calling me, but
no pressure, but I can't say that I don't uh, pull up notifications a few times in the morning and go, "Hey, is it out yet?" Not no pressure or anything.
I'm the same way. I'm like, "What happened?" And my problem is reading yours sometimes, I'll be in the middle of something, and then I'll be like, "It's gone 2 days, and I know it's there." And I'm like, "What? I have to read this. I feel, like, painful." I'm like, "I haven't commented. I haven't." He's gonna hate me.
Yeah, I totally know that vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
Completely.
We're all slightly addicted to each other's writing.
Well, is that a bad thing? I mean,
No,
really?
not. It's a great thing. I love it. So,
Okay,
hi to
so
everybody out there. All right, you had one more question. We're almost caught up with our. This is a 2 by 2. If those of you just
yes.
joining us, 2 questions for 2 Substackers.
So my second question. Okay, early on, you did this fantastic thing that knocked me off my feet. When I released Dark Device and I started putting chapter by chapter of Dark Device out, suddenly I get this message from this person named Anne of Tell Me a Mystery, and she wants to do this audio book teaser. And I went, wait, what? Who? What? Where? Me? What? Who? And then I hear this thing. And because it
You
said,
said
I hear
yes
this.
without any like. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
you just said
I said
yes. You didn't know
yes.
who I was or what I was going to do. You were the first one I did of those. I should do more.
I mean, it was like fantastic. I was blown away. I was amazed.
Thank
Um,
you.
just amazed. And it's that came back of like, okay, it was so polished of the
Well, thank you.
voiceovers. You got the inflections just perfect of the character. You got her tone perfect. You had the Foley effects in the background. And I was just like, I mean,
She was
I'm,
racing for her life, right? She was running. This was a tele. She was getting away from evil in some
yeah.
tunnel.
I mean,
It was a good scene.
I've been a long time listener and enjoyed the old, the old radio shows from back in the 1930s. Just I love those and like the Shadow and stuff like that. And I
Mm.
heard you do that, and I went, "Oh my lord! It's just when you do those, because I've noticed you've sort of taken a little bit of a stab of sort of doing some of yours.
Mhm.
Do you find you write any differently? Like,
100%. Yeah. It's totally different. It's like radio. It's like writing for radio. So with yours, when I first got on Substack, I wanted to do something to give back. I'm like, what can I offer anybody? So that's what you're one of the first ones I've read. And I'm like, oh, this is a female voice character, so I can do it. If it's not a female, obviously, I don't think I can do it justice, or unless someone else voices it. But I just thought, well, it's a little teaser for you to play, and maybe I can make it sound good enough. I mean, that's always the thing, it's got to be at a good enough level. So at first, it was just to see if I could do it, and you said yes. So I was like, oh, okay, someone's along for the ride. So that was cool. But then I started to do it for my own, and I do have a story right now I'm writing called "Stalking Hitchcock," and it's just voices, and it's me doing all the voices, which is also weird. But I found a really good online, like someone that does Audible books, and she coaches. So I took a lesson just to get it's about the emotion that you bring into whatever that character is saying, so people can sort of go along with you. There's also some really great stuff on Audible. They're calling them, are they calling them audio dramas or something like that? And they're doing voice actors with like real voice actors and some sound effects. So I'm trying to do what like maybe 50 people are putting together, but I get to write it. So because I get to write it, I can sort of work around the parts and that maybe you would need 5 more people to do it properly. but it's fun. And I called my Substack "Tell Me a Mystery," so I figured I gotta tell some stuff, but it's like audible telling. So that's why it's fun, but I had to redo my whole system. I got sort of it's a lot of layers of sound to make it sound right. I like it to have, lower sounds that are on your left or right. Um, I figure that's sort of where my sound design is maybe how I'm slightly better than the professionals because I'm looking at that and I don't think they are, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad you like it because it's something I'm still working on. It takes a lot more time to do than writing. And like you said, I have to write for what you can't see, right? Or I don't know. I have to write where I'm not. I do have to do some more telling that you wouldn't know. But I can
Yeah.
change up. Like when I didn't want to change anything of that if I do a clip like what I did for you. But for my own writing, like if I wanted to do the time witch or something, I could rewrite it just for that.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I can see that. It's sort of, I mean, because you launched into mine so easily. I mean, just
It
and
was
I
a
was
perfect fit.
yeah, and I just thought I can't. Surely there's got to be, as us like, does she write it like a chapter, or is it just that's where my question came from.
Well, did you listen to Lyric? Because that was written for it. Yeah, I no, I wrote it for what you would hear.
I
I
did,
don't
I
I listen to
did,
a lot of audiobooks.
I did listen to it, and I was just that's what kind of made me think. To me, it
Mhm.
sounded. I couldn't tell. I really couldn't tell because it sounded so good. Just like
Yeah. Well, thank you. This has been fun, and I don't those of you that joined us at the end of this, I'll say it again. This is called 2 by 2, and I want everyone to do this. This is my thing of what can live do for us as fiction writers, and it's to get to know each other better. And so it's two Substackers asking each other two questions about their work. So we want everyone to try this, and so we can build our community and know each other better. Then obviously we learn a lot just by reading each other's work. But if anyone else has questions for either one of us, we'll try to read them. I'm having a hard time reading it, and
yeah, I'm
it's
having
probably
to
my
glance
glasses.
down.
I need like trifocals or something. But
Yeah, I'm having to quickly glance down and go, oh look there's Jamie,
yeah,
there's Haley. Okay, no questions. Okay, yeah, just have to glance.
yeah. Thank you
Wait.
guys for coming. Oh, well, if I'm not careful, I click on it and it pops up. Hi, Hallie. It's neat to see names. I thought I saw D.W. Dixon.
hmm So I think if the way you explained it now, we each get to go and we get to go find someone else to go snag onto live and do the same thing, right?
Yeah, I'm challenging you to definitely go find somebody else that you admire on here, and same everyone that's listening. I challenge you all to go do it. To find someone. I mean, otherwise, what does this go live mean for fiction? I
Well,
feel like it's for people that have massive audiences that they'll jump on and 50 people will jump on to listen to them. But for us, maybe we can build it this way by just getting to know each other better.
I'm looking at a whole long list of names here that are potential candidates, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. Everyone that jumped on here, you need to be interviewed by one of us, and we also need you to do it. Find your favorite Substacker and do a 2 by 2. We'll start
Absolutely.
trending it.
Well, this is. I agree, DW. This is fun. This is a good idea. It's really cool. I thought this was great. Um, Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on here, Ann. I really appreciate
Thank you,
this.
Kummer. Thank you so much. You're like you and Jamie, and actually a lot of people on the list. I don't want to leave anyone out, but you guys are my heroes on Substack, and I part of the bigger community here that makes writing fun. Like when we're alone, I definitely the first time I felt like I've had this community of people that constantly support me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And right back at you because I love your work. I haven't seen a name on here that I don't absolutely love what you're putting out there. So please keep doing it. Keep writing.
Yes, do not stop. Keep writing. Absolutely do not stop. Which reminds me, I see Jamie Buckley. Where's your next entry? I'm waiting for it. Get it out there. Get going, man. I'm looking for it. Clock's
Yeah,
ticking.
well,
Come on.
luckily we got a Monday. He has his great Monday coffees.
That's right. That's right. So,
I love those.
we can give you a pass because you got your Monday coffee coming up. But still, you know, we're expecting more, man. And of course,
I
DW,
told
it's
him
like every time I turn
he's
around, it's
doing
like, oh
enough.
my,
Don't stress
there's
him
like
out.
another amazing one with DW. I mean, I just like his entire world's like fantastic.
This is
It's
it.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday. Yeah, enjoy.
Yes.
Okay, we wanted to keep this short. We want to say hi, and we love you all, and we'll see you out there on Substack.
Yep. See y'all on Substack.
Take care. I don't know how to end this. I really don't. This is our first. There must be an end. Oh, I see it. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye bye.